Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Our guest today is Nick. So, Nick, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
Yeah, man, and nice to have me in your podcast, Dan. I'm Nick Penev. I'm the co-founder of Extreme Power Brands, Ecom Hot Sauce, the 10x5 hack series. I do some other stuff, so I might forget a few of the things that I do in other. But the simple explanation of what I do is I connect people in the e-commerce space and Amazon space, and I managed to turn that into 4 paying businesses in the last 4 years. So where I live in Bulgaria. Now I've been running my companies remotely since 2010. As I'm joking, long before it was cool. I spend summer on the beach. We have a beach spot on the Black Sea in Bulgaria, and I spend off season wherever my wife tells me, or wherever the kids go to school. I mean, I'm telling my wife that school is overrated. She doesn't agree with me, so I guess I'm stuck with the with the boring stuff during if it's not the summer. And that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. So, I guess in terms of you kind of work in the e-commerce space, how did you kind of get into this and have an idea to start this business?
To be honest, I mean, I was running a supplement business with like 20 brands for 10 years. So in 2010, I got an idea about a product called acai berry. Or acai berry, the magic Brazilian fruit. And I didn't know anything about private label brands and this kind of stuff, but I saw there is an opportunity. We did a quick test. People started buying, and eventually, we built a huge e-commerce business doing like 25 million in like 4 years now. And we had like a 5K initial capital. It was really early because I was paying 1 cent per click on Amazon, or not on Amazon, like Facebook and Google. So we did D2C. So we have 0 competitors now. So we scaled very quickly now, no competitors, no obstacles, no nothing. And of course, we had a lot of issues with Facebook and Google because they don't like supplements. They keep us suspending us a lot. But long story short, we got early now, we made a lot of money, and eventually we sold the business in like 2020. So it was like 10 years of launching like brands. We launched like 20 eventually, probably 4 or 5 were very good. People are actually still ordering some of those stuff even though we don't sell them. But overall, it was a very good experience. We made a ton of money, which was the goal of this kind of stuff. And eventually I sold the business in like 2020. And then I was using a company called Hello Tax to do my tax compliance in Europe, which is like the sales tax in the States or the GTC in Australia. And before I actually sold my business, I get to know them. I don't remember, how we got in touch with them, but they understood that I was doing a lot of partnerships and affiliates, because in 2016, we stopped doing any paid marketing for the supplement business because we used to get suspended a lot, even though we're spending millions on ads. And I told them, okay, guys, my team, we cannot keep on doing that. We need to just look for alternative action. And we decided to build like a network of affiliates, partners, distributors, and we made most of the money after we did that change for the e-commerce business. And what we actually chatted with the Hello Tax guys. They told me, okay, Nick, you're selling the supplement business now, and we've been talking with my other co-founder. The co-founders are called Christian and Christoph. We've been talking with that we would like to scale the partnership, but we have no clue how to do that. Since you're selling your business, can you replicate what you guys did for your supplement business for a service provider? I said, okay, man, guys, you just gave me an idea. I mean, I'm too young to retire. My wife told me that I should stop pretending that I'm an old fart and just spending money, and I should get going with something. And I said, okay, guys, I mean, even though taxes are boring, I mean, this is just in my head. I didn't tell them that. Let's do that. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to look into the industry, and I figure out right away that many of the people in the community have no clue how to do partnerships. Everybody was sharing referral agreements, referral links, and they expect people to send leads. I told them, guys, it doesn't work like that. Why should I do something free? You're all the same. First, we're gonna build a community. We're gonna meet people, do stuff with them, give them value. And eventually, those guys are gonna become our brand ambassadors. And of course, we're going to monetize some of the partnership, but first we're going to start giving to people. And that's what I start doing by connecting people. I meet somebody, even if I'm not a good fit, I'm going to connect with somebody else. So I built a community of like a few hundred companies in like 3-4 months. And eventually, some of the partners that actually added to the partnership network for Hello Tax, they told me, okay, Nick, can you help us with partnerships? The founder of Merchant Spring, that we chatted earlier about, is one of those guys. And I told them, okay, James, just gave me an idea. I'm going to set up a business. I'm going to call it a partnership agency, and we're going to provide a service. We're going to call it partnership as a service. Some people call that grow through partnerships. or in other words, no, you use partners to grow the company, building connections, referrals, co-marketing, all kind of stuff. So, and that was like 4 years ago. So since then, we've worked with probably 100 companies. We have like 30 clients right now. 5 or 6 of our clients got acquired by a company called Carbon6, which are actually buying Amazon and like Ecom, SaaS, and like usually like SaaS, I don't think they buy agencies, so it's been only SaaS stuff. So that's actually a very good validation of the stuff that we do. And the one thing is that what is the difference between like, because everybody wants clients, and I told them, guys, no, the effort to find one client, let's say a brand, and the effort to find like an agency client is the same. But the agencies work with a lot of brands. So if you have a solution which is built for agencies, you're gonna make like a multiple, or you're gonna close a high ticket deal. And we actually help many of our partners to kind of change their actually offering, because why do you go after just a single merchant or a single seller when you can sell to an agency? But that's in regards to the partnership agency. So this is the paid business. On top of that, we build a network with, probably we have right now around like 2,000 founders, people like you, Dan. They either have an agency or they are like SaaS or provide a service for people on the Amazon in the D2C site or D2C space, mostly in the USA, some in Western Europe, some in Australia, but generally now people who do business in the USA. And the community is totally free. What we do in the community, we kind of connect people, we organize webinars, we collaborate, and the goal of the network is for everybody in the community to help each other. We do a lot of webinars. Now, eventually, I build a newsletter with like 30,000 e-commerce brands, mostly USA, Amazon, and D2C brands. We sell sponsorships there. We build a partnership platform, and we do like webinar hack series. So just by connecting with people, I managed to build those 4 businesses. We have another one, by the way, which is something which we've been doing in the last years. We take successful US brands to Europe, without those brands spending any money. Let's say if you have a cool brand, if you like what you're doing, we're going to actually buy your products on a wholesale model when we sell them across our channels in Europe. In other words, I'm always making up ideas. For example, this year we rolled out like 2 new services also by demand, because I saw that there is demand for that. One of them is called Webinar as a Service, and the other is called Newsletter as a Service. So what we do, we see that like companies now, they cannot get leads. Everybody's talking about like outreach, this kind of stuff, and now that cold outreach doesn't work. So we kind of rolled out services where we help you build webinars, we help you promote them, we help you grow that. Then of course, after you do those webinars, you get people who subscribe. Then another service, newsletter is a service. We actually build your newsletter, we kind of like manage the content, we create the content, we optimize that. So I'm all like that all the time. I have more ideas than time to execute them, and I talk too much. You probably figured this out already. So I'm gonna give you a pause to ask a question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, I think it's a very like you offer a lot of cool stuff for brands and for agencies. And I think that, in terms of bringing value, and you're definitely at the top of being able to bring value. For a brand that wants to sell in Europe, right? It's a very interesting proposition that you're offering. What does that look like? Because I mean, obviously Europe is big, it's a lot of different countries, a lot of regulations. So are you kind of more focused on the EU or certain countries? What does that look like?
I mean, just to give you like some stats, because I love like stats, because now I'm joking, like the math is the international language. Everybody knows math. So if you tell somebody like 100%, of course, not everybody knows what percentages, but people understand that. So for example, just on the Amazon site, I don't know how much is the total like e-commerce like revenue, but just on the Amazon site in the USA, they do 400 billion plus. That was in 2024. Europe is 100 billion. So it's less than the USA, but that's like 25% of the USA. And Europe is very early. For example, Amazon has only 20% market share in Europe. In the USA, they have 50. So I'm joking with people that Amazon Europe is like a time travel opportunity. Everybody say, yeah, man, I wish it was 20, like 10 or 14, and I can start selling on Amazon. Okay, man, you cannot do that anymore. We don't have time traveling yet, but you can go and expand on Amazon Europe, for example, or Europe in general, because here, many of the USA brands are not selling in Europe. So 99% of US companies who sell on Amazon.com, they don't sell in Europe. So it's less competitive. You can actually sell for more or higher price, like more profit margin. PPC is cheaper. And a lot of guys don't know that just on the Amazon site, no? I'm not sure on the Shopify side, but on the Amazon side, let's say you have a successful brand in the US, you have like 10,000 reviews. When you start selling in Europe, those reviews are going to show up on your listing in Europe. you can easily go on the first page and you can start making money. So the main thing for any USA brand which is not selling in Europe is to go ahead and check the opportunity. There is a lot of tools on the Amazon, on the Shopify site where you can see what is the demand for a product. There is even tools which can show you how much is your investment expense for that. And to be honest, it's not that complicated. To sell in the whole European Union, you just need one VAT, one tax number. And then you can set up storage in, let's say, Germany. We recommend Germany because it's the biggest market. Let's say, imagine that Germany is Texas, middle of the States. So Germany is like middle of Europe. So it's the best logistic place in Europe, biggest market on Amazon, biggest after Amazon. So I think on the D2C side, it should be big as well. In general, no, it's the best thing to start. And you store your goods in one warehouse there, and people from the whole European Union can actually buy your stuff. I'm based in Bulgaria, which is 1 hour flight from Germany. I think it's like 1,000 miles from here. Germany. So I order something from Amazon, I get it in like 3-4 days. It's not that complicated. People are scared of Europe, and I'm always joking. Okay, Dan, you went on vacation in Europe. Let's assume that you've done that. Probably you've done it. If not, how much did you spend? And you're gonna tell me probably like 5-10K for the vacation. Okay,
sure.
That's how much you're gonna spend to expand your business to Europe, and you're gonna make much more money. So I'm joking with people that they're cool with spending money in Europe. They're not cool with making money in Europe.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, what about other countries like the UK? Are they kind of excluded from that equation because they're not in the EU, or what does that look like?
No, actually, UK is still a good market, but the issue is that it's not a market that you can actually open the whole EU. So let's say if you expand to Europe, if you want to go and sell in the EU, you need to go to Germany. Now Amazon is open in Ireland, but Ireland is logistically like far away. It's on the northwest side of Europe, so it's very far. Imagine like storing your stuff in Alaska. It's not a good example, but it's kind of similar. Like far away from like Central Europe. So UK is the English-speaking market, so you should go there. It's still a very good market. I think it's number 3 or 4 globally now. But of course, if you want to open EU, you just need to like a Germany or like a Netherlands like tax number. But Germany, Netherlands, they're actually neighboring countries. So there's a lot of options, by the way. And the issue is, like you said, that people think of the blockers, the obstacles, they don't think of the opportunity. So that's why I tell everybody, go ahead and see the money, or as I call it, we're going to show you the money. We're going to show you how much you can make, because if I show you that you can make 1 million, you're not going to care about the 10K about the expansion, right? Because you're going to be making money. But if I start talking about the taxes, product compliance, logistics, you're going to say, okay, man, this is too hard, because you don't know how much money you're going to make. So it's simply perception,
Are there certain products that are better? Like, I mean, if you're selling supplements or things like that, is that possible, or is it more so?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's possible. There is some stuff which is not allowed. I know that because we've just in the last few months for the distribution business, we got 300 million brands we're going to sell in Europe, and some of their products, like the ingredients, are legal in Europe. But so that's why, when we help a brand to expand in Europe, first thing, you do the VAT compliance, then you do the product compliance check, because sometimes you need to change some of the ingredients, because they're forbidden. I had the same issues with when I was running my supplement business. There is a product made from deer antlers. So for a time, we could sell that in Europe. Eventually they banned that and we couldn't sell it anymore. So, but generally, like supplements do very well. Europe has the highest average order value. So if you have a cool supplement, people are gonna buy your stuff. I'm sure you've heard of this brand like called GNC, a big supplement brand. Yeah. So my wife is buying some omega 936 stuff, and she's paying like 60 or 70 euro, which is I think almost the same in like US dollars for like 60 capsules or whatever. And this is very expensive. And usually if you check out the listings, on Amazon, because there you have like a very clear data, a lot of times the most expensive products from notable brands are actually the best sellers. People don't buy the cheap stuff, so that's why actually Chinese sellers don't do very well in Europe, because Europeans are, okay, man, this is cheap, this is trash. I mean, people don't buy this stuff. So with food, with anything, like with cars, I mean, okay, man, not gonna buy these Chinese cars. Even they're cheap, probably they're gonna break apart. So
yeah, it's a very different mindset. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's in America, you have some of that, but a lot of, Americans are always looking for the best deal. So that's why you have, stores like Walmart and Target that do really well.
Yeah, man, we do those in Europe. For example, there is one which is called Lidl, which is I'm not sure if you heard it. It's like Audi. I think you have Audi in the States. Okay, so Lidl, they're actually cheap, but the thing is, they do all they actually source all their products from the manufacturers, from the farms, so they have like cheap price and high quality. And this is like a shift that happened in the last probably 5 years. Before there was like cheap like stores for all kind of stuff with low quality, but recently now they actually, because of those competitors called Lidl, many of them start actually making it cheaper and with high quality. That's how they advertise themselves. Like cheap and good as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in terms of your business, right? I mean, obviously you're working on a few different things. So what are some of your biggest goals for the rest of 2025?
My goal is on Friday we go in Switzerland to Eiger, Jungfrau. Those are like some crazy peaks. I'm not sure if you know anything about alpine climbing and this kind of stuff, but this is probably one of the hardest places to climb. We're not gonna climb that. We got like hotel by these places, but the view is amazing. So I only plan vacations. I don't plan anything for my business. I get the ideas. I don't think too much. I execute them right away. If it works, we double down on that. If not, we kind of optimize. So,
Mhm.
and also, I run my companies. I don't report to anybody but my wife and my kids. So I don't have investors. I've never gotten funding for the same reasons. I don't want somebody to tell me what to do and what not to do. So I don't put goals. I mean, and our business is highly profitable. So we're just looking for ways how to actually optimize that, how to always know like add new service, like do more stuff for the community. But I don't have goals like people, oh yeah, I'm gonna grow this company and this and that. So I have ideas, but not like clear goals that I need to do this and that by the end of the year. So
Makes sense. So what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you got started?
I like the stuff that I'm doing. I make some mistakes, but usually kind of learn from the mistakes. So, for example, for my supplement business, like we had the context of like 500,000 people who purchase our products, and we never send a single email to those guys to follow up, to upsell them. So that was the biggest mistake, which we did when I was running my supplement business. And right now, I make money from teaching people how to use email to grow their business. So one mistake is usually no leads to like some opportunity in the future. But to be honest, I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't say, okay, I wish I knew that. I mean, I like the stuff that we do. It's fun, by the way. I've done a lot of stuff. So supplement business, we made money, but I hated inventory, man. I hated all the time that we need to forecast how much we need to order, this kind of stuff. Running a digital business, the digital service is much better. There is nothing physical. I don't have inventory. You can work
Right.
with anybody anywhere.
That's
So
awesome.
I like it. I mean, we're fully remote. I mean, I don't care.
I love that. So in terms of, somebody watching this wanted to work with you, what's the best way for somebody to find you and to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, they can find me on LinkedIn. My name is really simple, like Nick Penev. They're gonna see like a cool picture that is not, they haven't seen anything like that on LinkedIn. It's my favorite picture. We took that on the beach with my kids. So
A cool
you can
photo.
just connect with me, get in touch. I mean, you can ask me for anything. If I cannot help out, I'm gonna recommend somebody. That's how we do stuff. We either help you out or recommend somebody. And that's why I have the WhatsApp community so people can do stuff together. I don't need to be involved, but there is always somebody who can help out. That's one of my actually mottos for what we do.
Nick, thanks so much for your time today.
Okay, thanks, Dan.